Oh, hi there. Well, I got a extra day off here, so I thought I'd do a follow up to last week where I was talking about using auto hotkey to do power distribution and dogfights, and
This is a
yeah.
message to all commanders. Please reduce your speed when maneuvering your ship inside the docking bay.
Anyway, I don't have a whole lot to add to that. I've been playing around with it, and what I've ended up with here, I'm going to have to get this to come up. Let's see here. The major difficulty I've had.
Please follow standard operating procedures and request docking permission before entering the start. Thank you.
Anyway, as I was saying, the major difficulty I've had with this is that the code to get this done tends to interfere with the firing process. I mean, this is a script. You run this thing, and you're trying to fire at the same time, and it gets in the way. It causes hesitations. Stuff doesn't fire right all the time, and the only thing I can think.
This is a flight regulations reminder. Please do not obstruct the access corridors during arrival or departure. Thank you, and enjoy your stay.
And the only thing I could think of to do about that would be to try to just make the code run faster. Now, this is I assume this is it's an interpreted language, right? So, I did a few easy things like the variables, just make them as short as possible, so it doesn't have to parse all that crap. I've rearranged the logic a little bit so that there's a little.
This is a flight regulation announcement. Please proceed to land on your assigned docking pad in a timely manner and refrain from obstructing other areas.
There's as little going on as possible in each instance. So basically, just from the top, you've got this timer set that tells you to run the procedure to check the firing buttons every 1,000 milliseconds. And then, so every 1,000 milliseconds you run this, it gets the state of the trigger buttons, the buttons you're using to fire with. And then it's checks this variable to see if your pips are set all the way.
This is a flight regulations reminder. Please do not obstruct the access corridors during arrival or departure. Thank you, and enjoy your stay.
And then it checks this variable to see if all your pips are all on the shields. If they are, then it checks to see if you're holding down the triggers, and if you are, then it moves all your pips over to the weapons, setting key delay to as short as possible and then setting it back to default afterwards.
We
and
would
then
like to remind all commanders to avoid blocking access to landing pads during arrival and departure.
and then setting the variable to show that your stuff is not set to the shields now, and then immediately returning. That's all you need to do. Later on, you can come back. You don't need to run any of this because you know this isn't going to happen. On the other hand, if this tests out false, then it's possible that you're not holding down the triggers, and if you're not, then it sets everything over to the shields, and that's all it has to do. Well, it still interferes.
If you're unable to complete docking procedures within your time slot, you'll need to exit the bay and resubmit a docking request.
It still interferes a bit, but it's not as bad as it was, and this is all I can think of to do about it. And on the whole, I would say it's probably good enough for PvE. But I'm going to go ahead and turn that on and get in here and do a few dogfights. It does work. It's probably not as good as what you could probably do with the macro capabilities
In
in this.
order to keep bay traffic flowing smoothly, please follow standard operating procedures and request docking permission before entering the start. Thank you.
It's probably not as good as what you can do with the macro software that comes with your joystick or whatever. But, yeah, it does work more or less. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I need to round up one more. I need to round up one more pirate mission from. From these guys. For some reason, they don't seem to want to give me one, but one of these other stations might have it. And then get back into the main ship and load it up full of bio sludge or something, so that the pirates will all attack me. And then I'll get down to business. All right, that's all I'm going to talk about right here. Have a good day.
Mission objective detected. Scan detected. Flight assist off. Flight assist on.
Okay, well that's about all I feel like posting of this stuff. Yeah, like I said, it does work. It's not perfect. I sometimes have to play with the keys a little bit to get it to fire. I found that sometimes I have to press the keys in a certain sequence to get say the multi cannons to fire up when they're supposed to, instead of it just firing multiple shot cannon rounds over and over without going to the multi cannons. That's actually not entirely unuseful, though. I mean, if I can control which way it's going to go, then I can do either one depending on what I want to do. And yeah, you can kind of get used to it and work with it that way. So it's not perfect, but I'd rather use it than not use it. So I guess it's okay, and I'm probably just going to keep it just like this for the duration. The other thing is that, yeah, obviously I'm playing this on Horizons. I've got Odyssey. I've played it a couple times, but it's full of bugs, which I'm sure anyone who knows this game is well aware of that. I've just been I found several bugs myself just in the course of playing it. Offhand. When you approach stations, it should be possible to use the holographic display on your HUD there to determine which way to approach the station, so that when you come out of Super Cruise, you're in front of the mail slot. But that's now broken. It's the position that you come out of Super Cruise is actually rotated 90 degrees. So if you wanted to use that HUD display, you'd have to have the HUD display showing the station, at a 90-degree angle. And yeah, you can still work around that. I mean, you can figure out where the mail slot is just by the orbit. The mail slot usually faces the planet or whatever it is that the station is orbiting around. But there's been other bugs, things like the game crashing a lot. And obviously the graphics look crappy and terrible. From what I gather, they don't look all that great, even if you do have a state-of-the-art video card that you can't get right now. So, and I did some of these pirate missions on Odyssey the other day, and walked off and didn't finish them. Came back a few hours later, and the missions had just magically disappeared as if I'd never taken them at all. And that's a bug with Odyssey, apparently. That's something others know about. And I've just been reading about one bug after another just like that. So, yeah, I don't trust it. I want to get into it, but I think I'm not in any big hurry. They can make a few updates and fix some of this stuff. Of course, the big stuff is the graphics. That's what I really don't like about it. I mean, the big draw with this game was just the way it looks, And the Odyssey, boy, those graphics looks ugly. I really don't think they'd look good even on a 3090 or something, Even with everything turned on, I just can't believe it would just look anything. It just looks like garbage. I really hope they adjust the gamma and the colors, and yeah. And as far as the menus are crap. I really hate it in any software when they completely redesign their menus and they don't add any functionality that the old menus didn't do. And in this case, they most definitely lost some of the functionality they had in the old menus. I think what they should have done, they should have just kept the old menus. They should have just started with the old menus, and instead of scrapping them entirely, just added new functionality to the menus that were already there. I mean, adding menus that look completely different and don't do anything that the old menus didn't do, and in fact do less than the old menus did. That's just pissing off your users, That's just. I mean, I'm not against having a completely new menu layout, but if you do it for no purpose, where you're not gaining anything from it, where it's even worse, you're just setting up. You're just going to annoy your users, with this little Mickey Mouse maze that you've created for them. That's all I got to say about Odyssey right now. I'll get into it eventually, but right now, yeah, I don't really don't want to deal with it. Have a good day.